For more than 130 years, the old Warren County Courthouse has stood tall in Lake George, New York. Through the pandemics of the 20th century, through war times and cultural shifts, its clock tower marked the passage of time. For the last 44 years, an art gallery inside the courthouse has reflected changing times too. Joining us now to tell us how the current historical moments are affecting the art on display is Gallery Director Laura Von Rosk of the Lake George Arts Project. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Paul.
Out of the 6 shows you have a year at the Courthouse Gallery, how many have been severely affected by the COVID situation?
The May of 2020 exhibition was severely affected. That was a two-person exhibition of paintings by Michael Van Winkle, paintings and drawings, and sculpture by Lee Malerich. Unfortunately, that May of 2020 exhibition was not open to the public. We couldn't host a gallery reception. We couldn't have anyone in the building. So in place of a gallery reception and still wanting to get that work out there, we did host a gallery talk, a Zoom conversation with the artists. It was a way to introduce our audience to their work. People could join in the discussion. That was our first artist Zoom talk in 2020, and we've been doing it ever since. I think we've done 7 of them now. We recorded that talk. It's still on our website. We were able to have Michael come up and install his work in the gallery. He's from Saratoga, so he came up and we took gallery shots. We had all that on the website. We were able to put a lot of content online on our website and still present the work to the public. It just couldn't happen in person.
So Michael wanted his work installed even though the public was never going to come in to see the work?
Yeah, I mean, that might sound a little funny, but I think, when you have been planning an exhibition for a year, which is the way most of our exhibitions are planned, an artist puts a lot of time and energy into imagining their work in the gallery, framing, preparing it, and you want to see what it's going to look like in the room. And it was rather heartbreaking to not be able to do that. So because we could have Michael's work in the gallery, we did install it, and it looked fantastic. Unfortunately, the only people that could really see it in person were the Lake George Arts Project staff and a couple of people that worked in the building.
Well, it's great that you were able to adapt to the situation. Now, even though the public was not allowed in to see one of the shows, did something good come out of this?
Yes, I think we learned that we can do a lot of this online. We have been doing Zoom conversations with all of our artists since May of 2020. So I think putting a lot of content online, either recordings with the artists or slideshows, we learned that we can find another way to introduce the work of our artists.
Well, I always like to hear about positive things coming out of this virus situation. What are you looking forward to at the Art Gallery?
I'm looking forward to the May exhibition. The May 2021 exhibition coming up is a solo show of new work by Paul Miyamoto. His exhibition is going to address his family's history of involvement in the Japanese internment camps during World War II. He is an amazing painter.
The art show looks very enlightening, Laura, especially about the Japanese internment camps during World War II. Many American children do not learn about this in school, about how after the attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan, President Franklin Roosevelt forced about 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry, most of them American citizens, into concentration camps. And Laura, we're honored to introduce a man who is raising awareness about those camps. He's your featured artist in the upcoming show, Paul Miyamoto of Millbrook, New York. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
What do your works depict?
My art basically depicts my Japanese ancestry. It depicts the agricultural nature of my family and my ancestors. My grandparents came here in 1900 and started farming and grew from there. My parents worked in the fields until the beginning of World War II, and then were incarcerated from 1942 to 1945.
Your parents were uprooted for at least 3 years. So what was life like in the camp where your family members lived?
It wasn't pleasant. Um, they had a hard time. It was very sparse. The food was bad. It was a mess hall kind of a situation, central mess hall and central latrines and showers, communal showers. And their barracks were basically several families to a building, and very Spartan. They weren't very happy about it. I mean, you're talking about families, people that had businesses, thriving businesses that they had to leave, sell, or just abandon. They had to leave within 2 weeks, sometimes a day's notice. And they had to wholesale sell everything they had. If you could think about what you have, like new washing machines or a car that you're making payments on, or a tractor, all of a sudden you have to get rid of them or sell them and then move. All of a sudden you're basically selling everything for a fraction of what you paid.
These are very important topics that we can face by seeing your artwork and learning more about it. With the violence against Asian Americans that we're seeing in some places today, do you think your art exhibit is coming at a relevant time, and what kind of awareness might it raise?
I've never seen it as bad as this. Certainly I've experienced, and a lot of my peers have experienced some discrimination most of their life. But I could only sort of tell my story maybe through my art, and that's kind of the way I feel, is that we can actually start a conversation.
I'd like to thank you, Paul, and thank you, Laura, for helping us better understand history and current issues through the arts.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
The Paul Miyamoto exhibition, Go Home, opens May 5th and runs until June 5th at the Courthouse Gallery in Lake George. You'll hear more of the artist's story during the live online talk with Paul Miyamoto. That happens Tuesday, May 4th at 7 p.m. And you'll find the Zoom link on the exhibit webpage. To learn more about the Lake George Arts Project, its art shows, Jazz at the Lake, and the People's Pixel Project of film shorts, head to lakegeorgearts.org.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.